Over there in Australia.
Hi. Hi.
So it's I think it's afternoon time over there. It's certainly very early in the morning in London, but it's really great to be talking to you. So I'm going to introduce all of you, starting from the left of my screen. So there's Lorrece, Kirsten, Theresa, and Clare, and of course my lovely Anne, who is a family by connection. So, ladies, we were having a really nice chat earlier on about your experiences about growing grey or not, and I just actually wanted to talk to you about some of the things that you mentioned. So, one thing that really I found very interesting, Claire, was what you told me about your mum. Would you just tell us what you were telling me?
So she's 99.
Yeah.
And we get a hairdresser to come to her every 7 weeks to do her roots, her colour.
Okay.
And when my sister during COVID went grey, in fact, she only was disgusted because Mum's got dementia.
Yeah.
Because she didn't even know who Gilda was. When she walked in with grey hair, she didn't even know who she was. At that stage, she still knew all of us, but just did not recognise her and when we told her that she'd gone grey, she was disgusted. How can you let yourself go like that? But it's really ingrained into that era.
Into that generation, isn't it?
She doesn't go anywhere. She still wears lipstick every day.
And she still feels that she needs this process to go on. Well, God bless her. I mean, I think that's amazing. But it's an interesting, it's interesting to note that generation, and your mum is really a generation and a half, I would say, older than beyond us, and still feels this need to continue to keep this
appearance,
this look.
Yeah. But it was all about appearances then anyway.
Yes.
Even if it wasn't physical, about how your family looked and like making everything look good, but wasn't good.
So, Lorrece, you mentioned to me, and I see that you're definitely embracing your lovely, lovely greys. And I wonder if you could just tell us a little bit about your experience.
Okay, so the reason I went grey was because I used to be in a corporate role, and I used to have to go to the hairdresser every 3 weeks to maintain colour and style. And so when I was leaving my career, I felt the freedom to not have to go to the hairdresser anymore. For me, it's really a great experience, but I did come across quite a few people that I think I'd aged according to the average person. I had aged over 10 years just by changing the colour of my hair. People who thought I was my sister's daughter now ask me if my sister was my daughter.
Right.
And I have friends. I think that's the part too, is I have friends that said because I went grey, they couldn't be my friend anymore because they didn't want to be seen with an old friend because people would think they were old as well.
So they felt it reflected on them.
Yeah.
The fact that now you looked more age appropriate, let's just say. That they by association they looked older themselves.
Yeah. People would think, are you that age as well? Yeah.
But it's interesting when you said that you had to color every 3 weeks. Did you feel that you had to do that for your job?
Yes, I did. I had to do it because I was representing the corporation that I worked for with other corporations, and I was at an executive level. So they didn't want to be represented by someone who was old. They wanted someone who was young.
Did they have that specifically in their rules and regulations, or was it just a sort of understood?
Just comment. Yeah, no, just comments. Comments, definitely comments. Okay. The way you dressed, everything was always expectations,
including the color of the hair.
Yeah, well, and the style. Yeah.
Okay. And did they have the same rules for the men?
No. Not that I know of. Not that I know.
So there were grey-haired men working in this corporation.
Yes, definitely.
Okay.
And bald. Yeah.
And none of them felt any kind of pressure to try to disguise the fact that they were a slightly older generation.
Not that I know of. I mean, I think it's probably just general anyhow in our culture that the expectations of a corporate executive is to be a grey-haired gentleman, isn't it? I mean,
or non-grey-haired, very styled woman.
Exactly. To be a woman, to have got to that level, yeah, you should. Yeah, there's a certain image.
Yeah, there is a certain image. And you were telling me, Kirsten, about how in your environment, people seem to feel that, I mean, they'll make comments like how you look is to do with how your hair color is.
Working in a hospital system, the patients will often comment if my hair's going a bit grey or whatever, they'll, especially the male patients, will say to me, you're letting yourself go, Kirsten. You should do something about your hair. And yet they're grey. They're completely grey.
The male patients.
Yeah, especially male.
Okay.
Male.
And how does that make you feel when they say things like that?
I rush to the
Seriously? But do you feel demeaned by that, or do you feel it takes something away from your involvement in your work, that you feel that they should be able to say things like that when you're in a caring role?
I know I'm making light of it, but I think to myself, that's their generation.
Yeah.
That's the way they see it. So, I think to myself, I really don't stand in judgment because, they've got their issues, they've got their problems, and I'm caring for them. So, I really, that's part of their generation. Yes, I do go and get, I'd be a hypocrite to say that I don't go and get my hair dyed or whatever. I do, but and also I've got issues too because I don't think my husband would be happy with me having my hair naturally grey. I really don't think so. Even
Isn't
though
that
he says
interesting?
it's okay. So there's also other people around me who I don't think would accept it because I think I would have been grey by 30. I think easily I would have been. Most of my hair would be grey at 30. It's just the way life. And sometimes people go grey earlier. And when I do see people that are grey, it doesn't faze me in the least. I think to myself, you're embracing yourself. You're embracing your hair. You're embracing life. Go for it.
Yeah.
So whenever I see someone who stands in judgment of someone who has done it, it really annoys me because it's not their business. You know what you've got to do. Don't stand in judgment. But if they want to dye their hair, I don't stand in judgment of that either. Anyway, it's
a personal choice. Correct.
Exactly right.
But do you feel that maybe you may wish to do it in the future, or do you feel?
I can't. I'm open to all kinds of things. You never know.
But you don't want to lose any friends over it, do you?
I most probably would.
And you know what? For them, then, because I guess that says a lot about how they are. If they feel that they have to distance themselves from somebody who no longer is pretending or not to be something that they're not.
But I'm hoping that there will be like a societal change where in time, because everything's very slow, in time people will be more accepting. I'm hoping like people like you who are out there asking these important questions will open up people's eyes and say, yeah, it's okay, it's all right. And women will have the confidence to embrace it. And we need people like you to create this revolution where people will say, it's all right, it's okay, That's
Well,
what
we need people like you also to feel okay about it. I mean, you mentioned to me, Theresa, that your hairdresser kind of got you on to highlighting, and how was that experience? How did that go for you?
You know, it was actually combined with a total change in hairstyle, which my husband didn't even notice, I have to say, which is incredible. It had gone from like a curly perm, semi-perm type thing, came on with this structured bob, and straight hair. He didn't even notice. Typical. And a friend of his came for dinner that night, and he said, "Whoa, I love your hair." And my husband went, "Oh yeah, you had a haircut."
Yeah.
So, you know,
So he may not even notice if you went grey.
I don't think he would, to be honest. I don't think he would. I do think it really is. I have no problem with people choosing to go grey. I don't know if I ever will. I think it's more about kind of what suits you best, what, you know, at the time, whether it's a haircut or a hairstyle or, you know, a hair colour. I think there shouldn't, the pressure for women though to not go grey, to not have wrinkles, like Botox is the other one, you know. And I say to people, well, yeah, okay, Botox your face, but what about the rest of your body? That's going to age, you know. So it's going a strange way, I think, society at the moment, where people do think they have to be young and look young.
And yet, here we all are, and we all have something to contribute, something to offer, whatever age we are and whatever our hair color happens to be.
I think it's how you feel. I really do. I've just started a whole new career 6 years ago and just started a business 2 years ago. And I'm thinking, why are you doing this at this age?
There you
Most
are.
people are thinking about retiring or not working, or, you know, and I'm doing the opposite.
Yes.
But I'm thinking, for me, this is what I need right now. This is what I want. You know?
But that is the thing, because, you know, we talked about this, Anne, before, didn't we? That people of our age group, we are having new leases of life. We're having new careers. We're still very relevant, and our experience gives us that opportunity to possibly change our lives, change our careers. We don't live the way our parents did at our age, and there's no reason why we shouldn't. And I really don't think the color of the hair should have any influence on that. And it's just part of who we are, whether we embrace or we don't.
Exactly. And I think you see that amongst society, friends. You'll see people who are young in their manner and still enjoying life and still doing new things. And then you see people who are much older. Not that there's a right or a wrong way. If they're happy with that, that's fine. You know?
Yeah.
Even
just like Claire's mom, who still wants to keep that whole image. Ladies,
my grandmother did a similar thing, not with hair color. My grandmother also had beautiful white sparkly hair. But if she was walking to the shops for a little excursion, she lived to be 97, she had to have her coat, her gloves, her hat, her handbag, you know, to go out the door.
Like the queen.
Exactly.
And why not?
That's exactly right.
Well, I always say that the Queen was definitely a grey icon. God bless her and God rest her soul. And on that note, ladies, I wanted to thank you so much for speaking to me. It was really been great, and enjoy yourselves. And thank you, Anne, for setting this up.
Pleasure.
Thank you.
Thank
you.
Bye, ladies.
Bye.
Go back to bed.
Bye.
Bye.